And good morning, everybody! It's your pal, it's your band pal, GGFan, wishing you a happy Sunday morning. I need to tell all of you that this will be one of the last videos I do about the online Pokemon world. Quite frankly, this endeavor is not conducive to my mental health. The deeper I delve into the inner machinations of the Smogon world, the more disturbed I become. Everything I've learned about pedophilia and how figures of authority not only defend them, but sometimes abet them. And just, I was actually getting legitimately angry when I learned how hypocritical certain people are, the double standards and the hypocrisy that are ubiquitous in the Smogon world. Were starting to actually make me mad, so I've decided not to continue making these videos. This will be one of my last ones, but it's a big one. It's a story many people want to hear. This is the story of why Ojama got banned from Smogon. Ojama is one of the most controversial figures in Smogon history because he is one of its most revered and accomplished tournament players. I don't need to list his accolades. It's not relevant. Everybody knows. However, he was permanently banished for a controversial remark, a dicey remark. Some people on Smogon perceive Ojama as a homophobic, transphobic individual. Is that true? Let's take a look. I was able to track down Ojama and had a casual conversation with him, and with his consent, I was able to share what we talked about. So, Ojama was banned from Smogon twice. The first time was in 2018 or so. For this remark, he said Vileman and SPL in 2018 is a bigger question mark than Dice's sexual orientation. So this was an offensive remark he made about Dice. Dice back then was a pathological liar. He lied about many things but was never punished for it. He was very desperate to get attention. And Dice, you know what? This has nothing to do with Ojama, but since this is one of my last videos, I'm going to say it here. When I was unbanned, I treated you with respect. I was always cordial with you. I ignored the things people said about you. Oh, don't talk to Dice. He's a liar. He thinks he's a girl. He thinks he has HIV. He thinks he got into Johns Hopkins. I treated you with respect. And when I got banned, you said, I fucking hate you, fuck you, Dice, for that. I treated you well. I gave you respect. I was cordial with you. I did not judge you based on what other people said. So fuck you, Dice, for that. Maybe you've changed now. I hope so. Because back then, you were definitely an insufferable, unstable individual. So anyways, he got punished for that. Dice never got punished for the things, for all the foolishness he happily indulged in. But Ojama got punished, and he was banned for about a year. Ojama got banned again, I guess 3 or 4 years later. Now, Ojama was teammates with a player named Posho. I got along with Posho, too. I think we were teammates at SPL. Posho was either my teammate or he was involved in the Stark Sharks chat. I can't quite remember. I think Posho was the BW player, or was that blurry? But anyways, I knew Posho. We got along well. And Ojama got along with Posho, too. They were teammates in a tour. They won. They had a few arguments, nothing major. And however, Posho developed an irrational hatred towards Ojama, which was driven by his new friendships with Starry, Dice, and Alice as the third person. So these were prominent, outspoken figures in Smogon's LGBT jerk. They formed this big friendship, and now all of a sudden, Posho hated Ojama. So, Posho dug up old logs from 5 or 6 years ago from a private server presented them to Smogon staff, and Ojama was permanently banished from Smogon. So the LGBT jerk wanted you gone, pretty much. What did Ojama say? What was this horrendous thing that Ojama said that led to his banishment? Well, first Posho said, "I don't feel normal." So Ojama made a joke and said, well, it's pretty natural because being homosexual is abnormal, semantically wise. And he said, he admits this was not my best line, but this was 6 years ago, and Ojama was frustrated about Posho constantly bringing up his sexuality on a Pokemon server, right? And I've heard this complaint from many people, not just Ojama. We're ultimately just here to play Pokemon. Do we really need to integrate discussions about sexual orientation and identity in Pokemon? It was something I never thought about in all the years I played, to be honest. But on Smogon, it is a major point of discussion. For example, the mascot of the RBY Discord is a rainbow Tauros. I think the mascot of Smogon's Discord is a rainbow coughing, which to me is ironic because originally the mascot was a coughing with a swastika on it, and later a coughing with Hitler's mustache. So we've gone from swastikas and Hitler mustaches to a rainbow. Okay, that's progress, but yes, Ojama was banned for an innocuous remark he made 6 years prior. I mean, what is this, a minor infraction? I said only a community as crazy as Smogon would ban for that. I stand by what I said. So we talked a little bit more, and Ojama says, yeah, it was inappropriate, but I was just getting my jollies off trolling. It was a play on words. I like to troll about anything, especially sensitive topics. You know, he likes to make the mood more lighthearted. After all, we're ultimately just playing Pokemon on the internet, right? So I asked him, if they were to lift your ban, would you come back? And he said, no, the community is dying anyway. I think the people in charge are incompetent. He talks about Gen 9's tiering decisions. Now, I'm not terribly familiar about what he's referring to. I've heard about it, something about terrorization. I don't even play the modern games, but there was a major tiering decision that resulted in many players leaving the game. So he's done with Smogon. The community's dying, it's toxic. People in charge are inept. And yeah, so one of the greatest players in Smogon history was permanently banished for an innocuous remark he made 6 years ago. An old log was dug up and used against him. So, Bedlam, there was Bedlam in the SPL discussion thread. I'll show you now. Let me just pull it up. Give me 1 second. So Conflict, a respected veteran tournament player, spoke out against the insanity. Not gonna lie, the forum banning of both Ojama and TC is R-word, and the people that did so should rethink their life priorities. Stop getting fake boners for banning competitive people and step down. No one thinks you're cool. Stop getting offended about every minor shit that people say, especially in private chat groups. Big point. This is a great point by Conflict. This was in a private chat. It was not an official Discord. I think that makes a difference. And moreover, again, this was at least a half a decade ago. So what Conflict said resonated with many people. Dad has spoken. Got about 90 likes. Many people echoed Conflict's sentiment. This was a hot topic for a while. I'll go down. Most of these responses are not worth looking into. And Nico made a really good post here, but I want to focus on what Alodin said. So, Alodin supported Ojama's banishment. Now, I'm going to do a short video on Lavos, and I say short because Lavos and I were never friends. We were never even acquaintances. Our interactions were always brief. And because Lavos disappeared, it's impossible to track him down. So when I do the Lavos video, I'll talk a little bit more about Elodin and how I feel about him, and the very cowardly thing he did. In my opinion, Elodin is the biggest coward, the biggest snake in the history of competitive Pokemon. Mazer was just a kid having fun. Elodin has nothing on Mazer. He's a coward and a snake. But anyways, now Elodin, to me, is also an idiot. He says something unfathomably stupid. Let's see. What was it? You're implying staff's punishment is over the top, when in reality the shit said by users like Ojama and Lavos are literally criminal. They could legitimately go to jail for doing so in real life in certain contexts. Are you kidding me, man? What did they do? They said the N-word to a white person on the internet? They said the F-word? Oh no. They made a joke about trans people? You would not go to jail for these things, I guarantee you that. If you do, then you're a bigger idiot than I could have imagined. Get off the internet. Obviously, this shows me that you don't have a life. You talk about real life, you don't have one. Because you actually fucking think that. Holy my God. But unfortunately, Elodin is very well liked. He's a prominent figure on Smogon. He obviously spends his whole fucking existence on the site. Everybody loved this remark. All your favorite idiots. But hey, man, listen. We know what Ojama said. What else did Ojama said? So we know he made that innocuous joke from 6 years ago that was dug up. What else did Ojama say? There's never any transparency on these things. Smogon never publicizes anything. There's never any transparency. I want to know. We all want to know. What else did Ojama say? Now, there's a rumor that he made a joke about being in an elevator with trans people, how he'd kill himself if he had to share an elevator with one. That's just a rumor. I want something concrete. But Smogon never does that. Instead, they say, oh, well, when we ban somebody, just trust us, we're doing the right thing. I should have taken a screenshot of that message, but it's very easy to find. So just trust staff, we know what we're doing, even though a lot of times we defend pedophiles. That's another topic, though. So yeah, Elodin said this. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, some people continue to voice their support for Ojama, but, it always dies out. In the end, some people did not like Ojama. Those people happen to be the most powerful people on the site, and he's gone, he's been gone, and he always will be gone. But you know what? I want to go back to the fact that Ojama got banned for something he said at least half a decade ago. People say stupid things all the time, right? What about Finchinator, the face of Smogon? All of the foolish things, all of the hateful things he said over the years. Finchinator was a prominent member of the N Gang. Now, I've talked about the N Gang a few times. I'll say it again in case this is the first video you've seen. The N Gang is one of the most infamous servers in Pokemon history. Think of it as the Super Bowl, the World Series, the World Cup, the WrestleMania of Pokemon Discord servers. All your favorites were there. ABR, Leo. I'd imagine Elodin was there. And you know what? Before I talk about the N Gang, I want to say one more thing, man. They could go to jail. If they go to jail, so does almost every tour player on Smogon. I used to be on the Smog Tours Discord. The N-word was rampant. And even after I was banned, they were still using it. You'd be in jail too. It would be a really tight jail cell. And I imagine when they threw you in there that you'd probably get beaten up. So yeah, if they're going to jail, So is pretty much everybody in this thread. But yeah, anyways, Finchinator, he was in the end gang, amongst many other prominent Smogon Tour players and staff members, and it wasn't just that he was there. Rather, he did and said many horrible things. He had to issue a public apology. He was given the chance to beg for forgiveness. He issued this bullshit public apology, which I'll show you here. In this apology, he admits to being complicit, a complicit bystander to racism, doxxing, and transphobia. He also admits to indulging in homophobic and transphobic language. He admits to indulging in dogpiling. He dogpiled on dice. He says vitriolic remarks. Now, Djokra was Alice in the past, so by vitriolic he means transphobic. I should not have used any slurs. He said the N-word in the N-gang. He does not admit to spamming pornography in a server that probably had minors in it. Now, people told me he also spammed pornography. I'm inclined to believe them because, quite frankly, if he admitted to doing all of these things, he most likely spammed pornography as well. So Finchinator was given the platform. He was given the opportunity to beg for forgiveness, and he got a second chance. Why not Ojama? Ojama had been on Smogon almost just as long as Finchinator had. Ojama had been on Smogon for 10 years. Why wasn't he given a chance to explain that he was joking and this was from 6 years ago and he'll never do it again? Finchinator should have been permanently banned, but we can't do that because, he has no life. He really has no life outside Smogon. He has a million messages on the Smog Tours Discord. He's active on Twitter. He's active on the forums. He eats, breathes, and sleeps Smogon. So he issues bullshit apology. And by the way, I need to point out that at the same time he was in the N gang, he was demonizing other people, casting aspersions against their character. Don't talk to him. He's a bad person. But just ignore me. Ignore all the porn that I've been spamming. Ignore all the slurs, all the transphobic rhetoric that I happily espouse. But CBU, he's bad, even though he didn't say a word. That person's also really bad. Don't talk to them. Oh, the pedophile? No, that's my friend. You have to wait. Let's wait until we have concrete evidence, even though it's already well known. But yeah, I'll be a beacon of morality. Fuck you, Kermit. Anyways, he got a second chance. He's still on Smogon to this day. Why is it that some people get a chance but others don't? And obviously Ojama was no saint. He pushed buttons, but this was a terrible, terrible excuse to ban him. This set an awful precedence. We see that the threshold for what you could say was tremendously lowered as a result of the N-Gang server. And you know what? I don't believe this apology. This, to me, was very disingenuous. Again, given the types of things Finchinator would say, he acted like a beacon of morality at the same time he was in the N-Gang. And to this day, he's a liar. I mean, quite frankly, a huge liar. He goes on Twitter. For example, I'll show you this ridiculous message on Twitter. I joined Smogon in 2011, and I just found out today about the origins. I didn't know. Even though I have no life outside Smogon, I spend 60 hours a week making chaos all his money, and I have a million messages on Discord and a million messages on the Smog Tours Discord and 2 million on the Smogon Discord. I didn't know. All along I didn't know. I've been on here. I've been on the site for over 12 years now. Probably longer than that, but I didn't know. So, I'm Jewish, by the way. Oh, it's horrible. Oh my God. Give me a break, man. You knew all along. You continue to endorse Smogon. Yeah, man, look, Smogon should change its name. Now, for those not aware, the original name of Smogon was Smogon's Nazi Empire, and the mascot was a coughing with the swastika. It was later changed to a coffee with Hitler's mustache. Now it's just Smogon, but it was Smogon's Nazi Empire. In fact, A screenshot from antiquity has survived. Here's what Smogon used to look like. Smogon's empire. Smogon's Nazi empire. I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's Smogon's great Nazi empire, adorable coughing with the swastika on it. The name Smogon is an allusion to genocide. Smogon is the German name for coughing. You know, poison, gas chamber, Hitler, World War II, Holocaust. It's funny, right? Well, to this day, it's still Smogon, but I mean, whatever, man. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, he continues to lie. He continues to make a fool of himself. That's just the way it goes, I guess, with these people. But yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say about Smogon, about why Ojama was banned from Smogon. Next, I will do a short video on Lavos, and then I'll probably do a farewell video. Wishing everybody a farewell. I think it's finally time for me to move on in my life. Well, I pretty much have. I haven't been active in the Pokemon world in a very long time, but I really want to ride off into the sunset and be done with this toxic shithole of the community. So, I hope you found this video insightful or at least somewhat entertaining. Have a great day.